I had a scissors in my hand. I struck at him. I ran away. He was lying in the hall. Blood around him.
Your sister, Mary, is a murderess.
I don't believe it.
You go back to school, then forget Jocelyn.
Drink. Drink it, Jacqueline. There's nothing else for you to do. They say you've got to die.
voodoo.
Paramount Pictures presents Mia Farrow in a William Castle production. Rosemary's Baby. Co-starring John Cassavetes. Written for the screen and directed by Roman Polanski. Rosemary. Guy. The Bramford. The girl. The dead girl. The neighbors. The friend. The dead friend. The nightmare. The doctor. The vicious nightmare. The other doctor. The truth. The baby. Poor baby. Whose baby? Pray. Pray for Rosemary's Baby.
Good evening, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the Friday Night Scream Stream. I'm your host, Spakenstein, joined as always by my very good friend, Mr. Evan Sink.
Good evening.
How we doing tonight, Evan?
We are good. Good on this.
Good Friday. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Everything's good. Good. That's the only word that you can use to describe anything today, because if you're observing Good Friday properly, then
that's what the people standing outside the tomb were saying.
It's good.
Is something going on in there? It's good.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. And don't
worry about it.
Yeah, it ended up being, technically it was good. So it is Good Friday. So happy Good Friday to all who celebrate or observe. And even if you don't, it's just a good Friday because we're back here again.
If you don't, just think of it as a Good Friday to celebrate the devil or whatever you're into.
Well, exactly. That's, I didn't even realize that this unintentional counter programming tonight. And completely.
Yeah, it's been pretty hellish so far.
Yeah, completely unintentional on my part. But, it's not every day on the show that we get a movie with let's say that deals with the devil.
Ooh.
So yeah,
that's where we're at tonight.
That is where we're at tonight. Again, so yeah, it's Good Friday. The devil theme that we'll have tonight maybe seems a little incongruous, but look at it as counter programming. I'm choosing to embrace it. But we've got a tale of devil worship and cults and voodoo and all that jazz tonight, because we're gonna be watching The Devil's Hand from 1961. It's one of I always love it on this show. It hasn't happened in a while, but there was definitely a stretch where we just constantly get a movie and I would realize that it was produced one year and then it was shelved for like 2 or 3 years and then released 3 years. So it's always weird which year do you decide to say that it's from? When it was originally produced or when it was originally distributed?
When was it made?
When was it made? So tonight's film was made in 1959. It wasn't distributed until 1961.
So is this more of a 50s movie or is it more of a 60s movie?
That's maybe something for the audience to judge tonight. And I hope everybody out there is doing well. I hope our audience is good and has had a good week so far. If not, I mean, again, we're here with your public domain horror fix, and like we always do. And yeah, I mean, again, if you like devil worship stuff and cults and all that, and this is right
If
up
you're
your
into
alley.
the devil,
If you're in, yeah, if you're a
if you're
Satanist,
down with the devil,
yeah, are you? That's the qualifier to be able to watch tonight's episode. Only if you are indeed down with the devil can you.
you must
watch.
be this down with the devil.
Yeah, there is just like at an amusement park ride. There's a little visual indicator. Yeah, so this is like it's an independent horror film, low budget indie B movie.
Okay.
Um
Is this coming out of Hollywood or is this coming out of Texas?
it
Or?
was it's coming out of Hollywood, not regional, definitely close. I think it's actually set in Los Angeles. I may have accidentally said on the minisode this past week that it was San Francisco. It's Los Angeles. So obviously, or actually, maybe I didn't have this written down on my fact sheet, but maybe it wasn't shot in Los Angeles, but it was the people who made it were all kind of based around Los Angeles. So yeah, Kathy, right, exactly. Yeah, completely unintentional.
It's just a happy coincidence.
Yeah, very happy coincidence. Yeah, it was definitely not not necessarily right, Dog Star. Them's the rules. That's I mean, that's definitely what you should call that. But it's funny, yeah, this is like not really what we're gonna find tonight, which I think is really interesting, even though this is it's an indie B movie. What it is talking about, or at least just again, I haven't seen this movie, but peripherally talking about devil worship and cults and all this, it wasn't really as common in the horror genre until certain touchstones. So that's what I kind of want to get into tonight, is the whole kind of history of you know satanic worship and
when did it
cults
become
and,
okay to make a movie about the devil?
right, because in the United States at least, it was really kind of off limits for a long time, because you obviously had the pressure of these major religious organizations on the film industry. And so but eventually the barriers broke down, and obviously some big movies which everybody's aware of we'll be talking about tonight. We already saw the trailer for or a TV spot for Rosemary's Baby, which that spot was way more interesting than the trailer.
It was that Betty Boop cartoon that did it, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it really, just the perfect lead in. But yeah, no, it was actually, yeah, Rosemary's Baby was kind of like the big thing that turned the tide, but there's a lot of stuff. We'll get into it tonight. It's fun. And as always, we'll talk about the actors and the people behind the camera. We've got some interesting names involved tonight. Some horror connections that are always fun. And of course, as always, Evan brings us a delicious cocktail to pair with the evening's film, a little segment which we call
What were you drinking?
What are we drinking tonight, Evan?
Well, there's a few different angles that it could have gone tonight. We've got this is a cult movie, it's a devil movie,
right?
But it's also, not to give maybe a minor spoiler, but we've got some doll action going on tonight.
Yes.
Of the voodoo variety,
right,
you might say. So that's where I went with the cocktail this week. This drink is called the Baby Doll. It's brandy, Cointreau, lemon juice, and we've got some glasses rimmed with sugar. So that's going to be our sweet element. Yeah.
Very nice. Sounds delicious. I know. I mean, again, Evan's been fresh squeezing over here before the show started. He was getting this, making sure that he wasn't just getting this lemon juice out of a plastic lemon. This is the real McCoy. This is the real deal right here. So, Evan always makes sure that we're using
fresh.
the
We're
freshest
living
ingredient.
fresh.
Right. And yes.
Just like our friend.
Just like our good buddy Fresh Rogan, we are living fresh. Yeah, so yeah, this cocktail sounds delicious. And here it is. Looking good. You see that? Those sugar crystals there. Gorgeous. Beautiful. And it smells strong, man.
It
That's
does. Well, I
gotta-
mean, it's this isn't quite a doll of a drink because it's just
No.
brandy and liqueur and a little bit of lemon juice.
So this, what you're saying in translation, sipper.
Probably
Sipper. Okay.
probably a sipper. So yeah,
Gotcha.
don't take a gulp.
No. Just all in one. Just, nope. Yeah. No, we're gonna take it easy, take it slow. Again, where Satanists are in no rush. They're not,
Right, yeah.
Let's
Yes.
slow down, take it easy. We'll go at our
Take
own
your
pace.
time with it.
At your leisure. Well,
Think we'll go ahead.
all right.
Cheers, everybody.
I took a baby sip.
Yeah.
But
That's
pretty
actually
good.
That's pretty damn good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely you want to sip it, but it's not too overpowering or anything when you're just
Yeah. Get a
Nice
little bit of the
sip.
sugar on your tongue and the brandy just kind of washes over it.
yeah.
It's pretty nice. I like that.
That is good. It's smooth. It's not too, even though the smell is biting to the nostrils, it's not biting
Yeah.
to the throat.
Yeah.
It's-
And the way that I've mixed this is it's a little different than what the recipe like originally calls for. It calls for it calls for Grand Marnier and I use Cointreau. But
the cocktail police are gonna get you, Evan. You better look out.
So I don't know if that how much of a difference that would make. The Grand Marnier's got a little bit more brandy in it, but that's just it's brandy with brandy versus brandy with orange.
Gotcha.
So
Well, they're all mixing. It's all mixing in the glass well. I like it. It's I think it'll be a good pairing with the film this evening because again, something that's kind of smooth and kind of. I mean, again, like I said, this is a low budget indie, but I think the subject matter is what's interesting. And so, man, I haven't seen this. This movie's new to me. But it comes from a producer who's one of their films we've seen before. Rex Carlton and Rex Carlton Productions. We previously watched The Brain That Wouldn't Die, which was written and produced by Rex Carlton. And
King Carlton, they call him.
Carlton. And
Carlton Rex.
Yeah, Rex. Yeah, he's not a dinosaur. But no, he's this he was an interesting character. This was his first horror movie. This I guess was a few years, obviously filmed a few years before The Brain That Wouldn't Die. But I think they might have come out around the same time. This is the weird thing about this being shelved for as long as it was. But yeah, I mean, again, that'll be like one of the cool things that we're getting into tonight is just how this fits into devil movies,
devil culture,
and I guess
Satan
just the
culture.
history of the devil in movies, or no, devil worship. Like, because tonight's film, I don't know that the devil is really a character, but the idea of even devil worship was not really something that it was very rarely was it explicitly said devil worshippers, and the devil, if he was shown, at all as a character, it was usually a fantasy.
When was Haxan?
So Haxan was the 22, I believe, 1922.
But that wasn't American.
And that was from Sweden. Sweden, and the director was Danish, I believe. But that's kind of the interesting thing is that as we go through the history tonight, there's a lot of movies out of Europe that deal with witches and cults and devil worship and worshiping Lucifer and all this stuff that in American films you really just didn't see. And obviously, one of my all-time favorites from 1934, The Black Cat with Lugosi and Karloff, which Evan and I watched a couple weeks ago. That's like the earliest time that a devil cult, satanic cult, was depicted on screen. And then there was like really one other time in like classic Hollywood horror, and that's The Seventh Victim, which was the first trailer in our pre-roll tonight. And that's really it in terms of using devil worship as a backdrop for a horror movie. Again, if the devil was ever a character, it was usually in things like Faust and variations on that deal with the devil's story. And it was not horror, right? So the idea of the devil being explicitly the subject matter in a horror film, it was just, The Black Cat, The Seventh Victim, that's really all you get out of America, but you have some interesting examples from abroad. And so we'll get into all that later. It's really cool. But yeah, tonight's film technically is like, for America, one of the early depictions of a devil cult.
Which is it almost seems wild to me because it feels like a pretty low-hanging fruit that they're just ignoring. The devil's scary.
Right.
He's a
big,
scary demon guy.
Exactly. But that widespread belief didn't really become adopted until the movies of the 70s, late 60s, 70s, where there was an explosion of this kind of film. That's really what we'll get into tonight, is kind of how, like, you maybe have 5 or 6 films before Rosemary's Baby, and then there's the Rosemary's Baby explosion, and then it gets up the notch even more, and then even more. So it's cool. It's cool. It's fun.
Very neat.
Yeah, we'll get into all that tonight on this Good Friday. Very good. But yeah, so interesting subject matter tonight. But anything else before we get into it, Evan?
So The Devil's Hand. So this movie is about someone getting a hand transplant, but it turns out it's the devil's hand.
When, again, having not seen this, when I was like making the list for like the lineup for this show, I had always thought maybe that's what this was about.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was when
there was a time where that storyline got done to death, and I believe that we will get to watch at least 2 movies with that storyline of hand gets cut off, evil hand gets put on.
The devil's just letting his hand float around out there just in case somebody wants to wear it.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, like, as we know, the devil likes to work through hands, a la Manos, the Hands of Fate. As we know, that's where the forces of darkness. That's really it's all from this.
It's all in the hands.
In the hands. So, yeah, that's if there's any takeaway from tonight, that'll probably be that. So, let's see. All right. Well, I think without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the exciting beginning of The Devil's Hand right now. Oh, no! Hold on. That's really easy to fix. Let me just boop and boop and boop and
boop boopy doop.
Boop boopy doop. Oh, yeah. Boop boopy doop. And I'm booping and dooping. There you go. You gotta love this.
Surf guitar.
Surf guitar. I mean, I guess 61 was really when surf music started getting big. 59, there's no way. I don't think it really exploded. So screenplay Joe Himes, another female screenwriter. We had one last week, another one this week. Kind of crazy. It's the devil. Devil's controlling my hands.
The devil made me do it.
Making me do these horrible things. I mean, again, the whole satanic panic thing, all that. All that. All of it. Covered so much ground. Oh, I don't know if you saw it. Maybe I talked and we kind of missed it. One of the credit for makeup tonight, Jack Pierce, legendary makeup man, designed all the Universal monsters. Like, did most of the makeup for all the Universal. And Mr. Ed at the end of his career.
The makeup for the horse?
I don't know if he was the one putting the peanut butter in the cheeks or who was.
Who are your friends?
My date for the afternoon. You're 20 minutes late.
Sorry.
You hear that? He says he's sorry. You think I should marry a man who's late for his appointment?
She's proposing again.
Only for the 17th time.
You waited all your life for the perfect mate. What's 20 minutes more?
Wow.
You should get over that inferiority complex.
Yeah, break up with him.
What's wrong?
Nothing. I didn't get much sleep last night.
Or the night before, or the night before that. Why don't you see your doctor? Or get some sleeping pills. That may help.
Wouldn't do any good.
Well, let's get some lunch. You haven't got much time left on your lunch hour.
There's no rush.
Why? Did they make you the boss or something?
I quit the other day.
You didn't tell me.
What?
You said that this job was your big chance in electronics so that you could develop some of your own ideas. You said
Buddy,
it was
that's-
the kind of security you wanted for us to get married.
Would
I
be
know
a
what
good
I
time to
said.
get in the field.
Be a little patient with me, honey. Please.
Music sounds like he's going to be visited by an alien. Oh, well, there's the alien.
Alien doing a TikTok dance.
Got the devil hand syndrome.
Got that devil hand syndrome.
Is that why he can't sleep? He's too busy looking at this lady in the clouds.
How could I explain when I myself couldn't understand
Seems
it?
like it.
To dream about a woman night after night. A woman I'd never met, never seen before. And with each dream, she became more real, more alive, until it seemed that if my hand reached out, I could have touched her. Some will, stronger than my own, brought me here. Nothing was familiar to me. I'd never been here before, and yet I wasn't lost. An unknown force was guiding my steps.
I feel like they added this
leading me
later.
to this courtyard.
This narration.
There was something here that was drawing me close like a magnet. I could feel it pulling me closer, closer. And then I saw it.
A very crude doll. Are they gonna be like Screaming Skull and talk about how bad the doll looks?
That's it. That face, it's the same face of the woman who comes to me in my dreams. It's fantastic.
Oh, darling, it's probably just a coincidence.
That's she, all right.
Well, then let's go inside and see who posed for it. More than likely it's someone you know, and that would explain everything.
Hey, I
She's
was
getting
gonna buy
away.
that. Stop that doll.
Hello, Mr. Turner. I have the doll ready for you.
You
What?
know my name?
Oh, I pride myself on my memory. You left your name when you brought in this picture for the portrait doll. Remarkable resemblance, don't you think?
Ooh.
Yes, yes. But there must be some mistake.
Mistake?
Am I being punked?
Oh, I don't think so. Let me check.
No, you're
your
actually
order.
being
Excuse
X'd.
me.
Donna, I didn't bring that photo in.
He just mistook you for someone else.
I don't understand this. First I dream of a face, then I see that face on a doll. Now I'm told I brought that photo in.
You're making too much out of it, Rick. There's just been a misunderstanding somewhere.
But he knew my name.
Do you walk in your sleep?
No, and I'm not leading a double life.
Who are you trying to
Evil twin.
convince? Me or yourself?
Would I have brought you here if I were?
I'm only kidding, Rick. Don't be so touchy. You'll see. There's a perfectly logical explanation for all this. Some of your friends have weird ideas of humor. Maybe one of them is playing a...
Yep. She thinks he's being X.
That's me.
What?
What? Now she's being punked.
Yeah. Wow.
Sure looks like you.
It is me. Where do you get these ideas?
What are you talking about?
The doll, of course. Honestly, Rick, it was sweet of you to have it made for me.
He's just
Why
gonna
all
take
the
credit
mystery?
for it.
You went to so much trouble just to make it a surprise.
Donna, I didn't order this doll.
Darling, you must have.
And I'm telling you, I didn't
The
order it.
instructions all checked, Mr. Turner. Everything is exactly as you ordered it. Should I wrap it or send it to Miss Bianca Milan?
This doll, who ordered it?
That one, the lady in the photograph.
Take a good look at this picture and Miss Trent here.
Yes, I see what you mean. There is a slight resemblance.
Slight? That's me.
Merely a coincidence. I know the lady who brought this photo in.
Look, Mr.
Lamont, Francis Lamont.
Mr. Lamont, there must be some mistake. I didn't bring in any photo. I didn't order any doll. In fact, I've never even been in here before.
If you say so, sir, perhaps I was mistaken. It's paid for, so I'll send it to Miss Milan.
Rick, if you're playing some sort of a game, I don't find it very amusing. So let's take my doll and leave.
Donna, Look, just wrap this one up. I'll take this doll.
This one, I'm afraid, is not for sale. If you'd care to leave a photo, I'd be happy to make one up for this young lady.
But she is the lady.
No, sir. She is not.
Weird.
Come on, Rick. Let's go.
That was a good delivery. I'm feeling a little shaken, honestly.
Ooh. Oh shit. Just right back here. Just here in the back. Yeah.
Oh, the volume went out.
Okay. Gotcha. Sync.
That man, he's frightening. He just
Try to
stood
see
there
what I
looking
can
at me.
I don't understand this. What is it?
Oh, help me.
Take it easy.
Is this right back on this show? Oh.
Oh,
dang.
jeez.
Brutal.
Dr. Wright, report to clinic at once, please. Dr. Wright, report to clinic.
How is she, Doc?
I've just had Dr. Moore corroborate my diagnosis. It's a
Did our volume go out on
muscle
YouTube?
spasm
If
of the
anybody's watching
How
on
bad is
YouTube, let me know
It's
if
hard
you
to say at this
hear us or
stage.
not.
Frankly, her symptoms are a bit puzzling.
It all happened so fast.
It usually does, Mr. Turner. Now, you try not to worry. We're doing everything possible for her. Right now, she's resting quietly under sedation. You better try to get some sleep yourself. You'll be able to see her tomorrow.
Thanks, Doc.
Rick.
Did you get that doll?
Relax, Rick. Let's enjoy each other.
Whoa,
What shall I
wink.
do to entertain you? Shall I sing until your head throbs with the sound of my voice? Shall I dance for you until the blood races through your veins? Do you find me desirable? Would you kiss me if you could? Would you hold me close?
I'm dreaming, it must be.
I must be.
What do you want?
You.
Who are you?
The man at the doll shop told you. Bianca Milan. The address is on the back of the photograph. Get it, Rick. And bring the doll. It's so simple. Why torture yourself any longer?
I've given you all the information you need, bro. Come find me.
Now, Mr. Turner can only stay a few minutes. You're not to get excited.
But I always get excited when I see Rick.
Well, I don't blame you. He's quite a man.
Oh,
You
sassy
have 3 minutes,
nurse.
Mr. Turner.
How do you feel?
Like a steamroller hit me.
Well, that makes
Damn.
2 of us. You didn't tell me before you had trouble. With your heart, I mean.
I didn't. Until I fell in love with you. That will teach me never to be jealous again.
Well, that'll be a help.
Oh? What are you planning?
I'm not supposed to get you excited.
Tell me, Rick.
Yesterday I told you I didn't know any more about those dolls than you do.
Yes?
That was the truth, Donna. Last night I had another dream or vision or whatever the devil you want to call it.
Is
The
that
same girl?
Only this time she spoke to me. She said if I wanted to find the answer to all this, all I had to do was bring the doll to her.
Why isn't she helpful?
Do I have your permission to go
Well,
find
I've
her?
got to see her, don't you see? I've got to find out whether she's real or not. Once and for all, I've got to get this thing off my back.
I know you have to see her, darling. I guess I can't help acting like a woman. You've been honest with me, and I do believe you, but
But what?
please be careful.
Of what? Sure.
I mean it, Rick. There's more to it than just, well, call it premonition or woman's intuition if you like, but I'm afraid.
Of what?
I'm afraid I'm going to lose you
To a dream?
to a dream that might be real.
You're the only real thing.
like
in
an
my
elaborate scam?
Yeah. It does. It does feel like,
Rick, I love you so.
you know, if they only had internet back
Describe
then.
that.
He's gonna go to this woman's house and she's gonna
Best
sell
medicine
him a
in the world.
timeshare.
Good for whatever ails you.
When I think of the time
Either that
I've
or he's
wasted on
being
vitamin
catfished.
pills.
Take care of yourself, darling. I'll see you soon.
Rick, be careful
Was that 3
of
minutes?
the doll.
Not sure.
Ah, Mr. Turner, I do hope I wasn't indiscreet yesterday.
No, no. Miss Trent, the young lady who was with me, was just a little upset at seeing her photograph and that doll.
Of course.
May I see the name on the back of that photograph?
The one you think is Miss Trent?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but the doll and picture were picked up by the owner this morning.
Oh. Well, then I'll take that other doll, the one of Miss...
Bianca Milan? I anticipated your coming back.
How much do I owe you?
You paid me when you placed the order.
Did I?
In full.
Doesn't sound
Good
like
day,
it.
Mr. Turner.
Yeah.
Didn't take note of that.
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, that would have played out a little differently if he had just been looking a little bit
hey,
to the right.
What's going on with that doll back there? But you said it was picked up, not
Not
pinned
nailed
to the wall.
Miss Bianca Milan?
Mr. Turner, I've been expecting you. Do come in.
You knew I was coming?
Of course.
You were expecting me to deliver this.
Thank you.
How often do you go on vacation, Mr. Turner?
It's lovely. The resemblance is amazing, don't you think?
You didn't even look at it.
Shall we have a drink?
I'd prefer a little conversation, like my questions and your answers.
There's time, lots of it. Come, help me.
Help me polish off this bottle of champagne.
This is our first drink together. We should mark the occasion with a toast. To the first of many things together.
Such as dreams and portrait dolls.
And the sweet mysteries of life.
Yeah, I think so. Dog Star. Yeah, she's just gonna. Her spirit is really just, all controlled by this doll. It's all the doll is the key to everything.
I thought you might like to dine here. Just the two of us. My servant Ahmed does very well with Occidental dishes. You may serve us now, Ahmed. Ahmed cannot speak.
I'm a little speechless myself.
I found him in
Inappropriate.
Tibet. He belonged to an ancient cult of worshippers who believed sacrifice brings immortality. His tongue was his sacrifice.
The world has many strange religions. Forgive me for being so persistent, but what made you so sure I was coming here tonight?
I invited you and you accepted.
I don't know if I'd be drinking anything that he gave me.
No, he's not in the least bit suspicious.
Let's be more specific. I'm here for just one reason.
I know why you're here, Rick.
Then you know about the dreams.
Naturally. It's a simple process of thought projection or thought transference.
Thought project. You're telling me that you danced and talked to me from this apartment? And I received your image and voice in my room?
You doubt me?
Of course not.
I've been
I'll get you the number
catcalling
of a
you
good
from across
psychiatrist.
town.
Maybe I'm a little dense, but I don't understand all of this.
What puzzles you?
Well, for one thing, why me?
Why
appeal to
me?
Why does a woman with your attributes have to go to these extremes to have a man visit her?
Why do you use a
Why didn't you
child's
just whistle
teaser?
Would you have answered?
Perhaps not. But then I'm going to be married.
There's your answer then. I had to condition you, wear down your resistance, make you want me. So I visited you through mental projection. You may not admit it, but I am firmly planted in your subconscious.
Could be. But what's so special about me that put you through so much trouble?
I saw you, I wanted you. That made you special.
We can't always have everything we want.
I can.
This thought projection, is it a special power you have, or can anyone play?
Will you prepare a drink for Mr. Turner and myself, Ahmed?
God, I had a lot of drinks.
Relax, Rick. Make yourself comfortable.
Too late.
Recognize him?
Me?
It helps in concentrating to have the image of the person to whom one's thoughts are directed.
Definitely don't drink
Yeah,
that.
don't recipe, Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde.
You're amused.
I'm sorry. I'll take you seriously, I promise. Tastes like devil's brew.
The devil's brew.
Hey, what's in this anyway?
I can bridge any distance between us, no matter how great or how small. Concentration is essential. I can tell when I've made contact with you, when my thoughts and my image have reached you. Just relax and close your eyes while I concentrate. Oh, great Gamba. Open your eyes, Rick. You can see me quite clearly now. Tell me what you see.
I see through you. You're transparent. You cast no shadow, no reflections. There are disturbances around you. Wind, thunder, lightning. You're not real. You're...
Turn around, Rick. I'm here behind you.
What are you?
Don't you know?
You're a she-devil.
A witch.
Ooh.
You're evil. But beautiful, fascinating.
Listen, Rick. As I once was, you would not have looked at me. I was unhappy and lost until I discovered Gamba.
Gamba?
The devil god of evil. I belong to a cult that worships Gamba. You met the high executioner at the doll shop, Francis Lamont.
And he gave you this power of thought projection?
It's more than that. I've been given the power to control my destiny. I've had everything life could offer until I saw you. I wanted you just as much as you want me now. You've already begun to forget Donna Trent.
Who?
You really are a witch. She-devil, whatever you are, I want you.
You must become one of us first.
Anything.
You must take the oath to Gamba.
Tomorrow.
This guy's gonna try to dip out first thing in the morning.
There's a meeting in progress. The high executioner will perform the rites at midnight. We must hurry.
And that is gonna take us to our first break. What do we think of The Devil's Hand so far, Evan?
I think it didn't take much to turn this guy.
No, I'll just go to her apartment one time and boom, he's been seduced. He's ready to give himself over to Gamba.
Yeah, sheesh. Even told his wife, fiance.
He's like, hey, I'm gonna go find this girl.
Yeah, I'm gonna go visit this girl I've been having dreams. The literal girl of my dreams.
You know, the one you got mad about because she made a doll of you and we found it and you seem to have a heart attack afterward. Yeah.
You got nothing to worry about.
It's all good. You recover, you rest, and I'm just gonna do me. Yeah, he's obviously a playboy, but definitely I love how straightforward what is her name? Bianca. I love how straightforward she is about this whole.
Really.
I'm a part of a devil cult. We believe in supreme evil, and we want to turn you.
She's wearing her witchiness on her sleeve, just not
Yeah.
unabashedly a witch.
Yeah, are you a witch? Yep.
Yep.
And that's yeah, it is funny how very straightforward it is. I mean, because like this is the thing is we talk overall about devil, Satan, devil worship, witchcraft, all that stuff in American movies. Usually, especially in the early days of like the Hays Code being a big deal, you had to explain away logically anything that was maybe at a certain point thought to be witchcraft or supernatural to the devil. You had to be, it wasn't really.
It wasn't actually. It was just a guy in a mask.
Yeah, it's just there's always some really asinine excuse for why there wasn't really witchcraft. And that's, obviously for horror movie fans, that's always frustrating when you're given the promise of that and then it's like, oh no. Which that's like a cool thing that a movie like The Black Cat does is that they don't necessarily they don't show you anything overtly supernatural, but they also don't say, like, it's funny because the whole ending of that movie is basically like commenting on the movie itself by saying, oh, well, things like this couldn't happen. But the movie doesn't actually say that. The characters like look at each other when they read that. Oh, things like this couldn't happen. They did happen. So that's like a cool thing about like that. And I haven't seen The Seventh Victim in a while, and I don't know if they dispel it outright. But a lot of the times, if you were going to go voodoo, like we saw a trailer last week for Voodoo Woman, I believe, a Universal. Not really a horror film, but it had Lon Chaney Jr. in it. But it's one of the few movies that's actually about like voodoo dolls and like voodoo being used like on an unsuspecting American town. Right. Now in the end, I think it's all kind of explained except for one thing that you're like, well, maybe it's not. But that was the thing. It was always supposed to be ambiguous. And that's the Hays Code, but that's also like there was like the Catholic League of Decency or the Catholic. There was some kind of they literally like were very hard on movies that tried to push the boundary with anything overtly supernatural, or that's why you wouldn't really find too many things about Satan or the devil like in the 40s or even the 50s,
Which almost seems funny to me because it's not like they're portraying the devil as like being the devil's not the good guy in any of these movies.
No, well, exactly, right? Like, and that was the thing about, the fantasy films that had the devil in it. It was always like, okay, well, if you are going to actually have the devil, it's got to be in a context of, not that you're trying to scare people, but you're trying to give a morality play, and in the end, the right is going to prevail over evil. Good is going to prevail over evil, and it's all going to work out okay, right? Like that was kind of like mandated. Like if you're going to use the devil, you gotta be, give it a lesson. And it's just kind of ridiculous.
Even out.
Right? Yeah. And but it was in the late 50s that, this started to break down and that people started to kind of challenge the narrative a little more. And so, this film, and there was another film actually kind of similarly produced in like 58 or 59, and that wasn't released until the early 60s. And it kind of dealt with a devil worshiper, not like a cult, but a worshiper. But this movie, again, it dealt with a cult. But it was actually outside Hollywood that the supernatural satanic stuff was starting to thrive around this time. So we talked last week when we were watching that vampire movie about Hammer horror and in Britain, and that's how that kind of like revitalized the gothic horror monsters. But it also they started doing a lot of movies about witchcraft, and not just, it was like there was a movie out of Italy called Black Sunday, which was really big, and that dealt with witches and returning from, the grave after 300 years to seek vengeance. And then literally the first movie we ever watched on this show, City of the Dead,
Yeah.
1960, that was the same year as Black Sunday, and that was out of Britain. And that was a movie about it took place in the United States in, a small town in New England, right?
The perfect place for some devil worship.
Well, that's kind of the interesting thing about, like, once you start to see the storyline being played with it usually, and even in like the early examples, like the Black Cat and the Seventh Victim, it's in these tiny towns that are tucked away that nobody's just traveling to. They're purposefully out of the way, and that's why this cult is able to do whatever, the cults are able to do whatever
They're
able to do.
isolated.
Right, exactly. So that's like a big thing to those movies, and that was something that City of the Dead did really well. Was, these witches have come back after they were executed, and then they've done their deal with Lucifer in order to come back and do their rites on this town and take unsuspecting people and sacrifice them. I mean, again, that was out of England. Like, the United States really didn't go that hard. It really wasn't until Rosemary's Baby that you had.
And when was that?
That was 1968.
Okay.
But really all the other countries were playing with it. Italy, Great Britain, and Mexico. And that leads to like the trailer that we'll be seeing in this break and some really interesting facts about two of the cast members of tonight's movie. So the trailer that we're going to be seeing is for a Mexican supernatural film about like witchcraft and a devil sorcerer returning to seek his revenge after 300. One of those kind of typical plots, but
always 300 years, huh?
Right, yeah, something like that, right? That's always a pretty good
nice round number.
Right. So this movie is called, the Mexican title is El Barón del Terror, right?
Okay.
Which, and I say it that way because you ought to hear the announcer in this trailer. He is putting so much flair on it. This is the Mexican trailer that we'll see.
Right.
We're going to see the Mexican trailer and the American trailer, because the Americanized version of the film is called The Brainiac.
The Brainiac.
And yeah, it kind of takes a different tack in how it promotes the film. And the trailer is really ridiculous. But like I said, this was I think it was 1960 or 1962-ish was when this movie came out. So, this supernatural theme was starting to be explored outside the United States. Well, the lead actress in El Barón del Terror is the woman playing Donna in tonight's film. Donna is the first love interest of our male lead. She's played by an actress named Adriana Welter, and she was up to this point she'd already made like 20 films in Mexico, was a successful Mexican actress, and had appeared in a few different horror films. Some great vampire films out of Mexico, El Vampiro, and it's El Ataud del Vampiro, with the coffin of the vampire. She's in both of those. And the most interesting fact about her is that the woman playing the other love interest of the male character, the woman playing Bianca, Linda Christian, is her sister.
Huh.
Yeah. Linda Christian is also a Mexican film actress. They were born in Mexico, but they moved around a lot, and then Linda Christian sought like a Hollywood career in the 40s, while her sister sought out a career in Mexico. And this was like maybe one of the first films that Adriana shot in America, and she didn't like it.
Oh,
She was
no.
like, well, apparently were a lot of troubles with the release of this movie. She didn't get paid. So,
that
so it's just a little sore about
yeah,
that.
no matter how good the movie is in that
Right.
case.
You're gonna be a little down about that. But yeah, I just thought it was I saw this I was like gonna show one of the vampire movie trailers, but then I saw this. I was like, oh, this is about witchcraft, and this is kind of this is what, as far as it was going in the 60s, was you were getting witchcraft and you were getting, you'd maybe start to get cults, but they weren't going explicitly the devil is real direction. They still kind of left things up in the air. But we'll talk more about kind of really the tide turning and all that as we get on with the night. So we're gonna get this break, the trailer for El Baron del Terror, and then its Americanized trailer, The Brainiac. And then when we come back, we'll get into the exciting middle of The Devil's Hand. So stick around, we'll be right back.
Interpretada por un reparto multiestelar, viene a la pantalla una historia fascinante de emoción. El varón del terror.
Yo fui quemado vivo por la Inquisición, por su antepasado, por don Sebastián de Pantoja.
Aterradora revelación de un hombre que fue sentenciado injustamente.
A auto, relajamiento en persona con confiscación de bienes y sea quemado en campo abierto.
Me parece perfecto, pero sin cadenas.
Condenado a morir por seductor, brujo y hereje, es ejecutado.
Regresaré a vuestro mundo dentro de 300 años. Entonces consumaré mi venganza y exterminaré vuestras estirpes malditas.
La maldición de siglos atrás cobra vida sobre el varón del terror. Sediento de venganza, con incontenible furia, los minutos de sus enemigos están contados.
Observen ustedes. Los mismos orificios exactamente en el mismo lugar que en el otro cráneo.
Este horno nos dará temperaturas hasta de 8000 grados. Deme usted los metales y compuestos químicos que le enumeré y estoy seguro de realizarlo.
Una feroz bestia siembra la muerte a su paso. El varón del terror.
Mi odio es más fuerte que mi amor. Está por encima de todo.
Siento como si tú y yo nos hubiéramos conocido antes. Por favor, no vayas a pensar que quiero separarme de ti ahora.
Cada víctima paga su deuda con la vida. Historia estrujante de angustia y pánico. El varón del terror, con un reparto extraordinario. Abel Salazar, Ariadne Welter, Rubén Rojo, Mauricio Garcés, Ofelia Guilmain, René Cardona, Rosa María Gallardo, Susana Cora, Germán Robles, Roxana Bellini, David Silva y Magda Urbizu, dirigidos por Chano Urueta para Cinematográfica APSA. La más violenta y tenebrosa obra de suspenso, El varón del terror.
I shall return to your world within 300 years. when that comet completes its cycle and is once again in these latitudes.
300 years later, the Count returns to Earth in The Brainiac. See horrible and insane killings as the Count turns into a monster and seeks his revenge. See the Count feast from human brains. Don't miss the most horror-filled film of the century. The Brainiac. The Brainiac. The Brainiac. The Brainiac. The Brainiac. The Brainiac. The Brainiac.
The Brainiac.
Oh, so those were two different trailers for the same movie, El Barón del Terror and The Brainiac.
Which one did you think did a better job selling that movie?
Definitely El Barón del Terror.
El Barón del Terror.
You know, again, they called it the Brainiac because he eats brains, but
okay,
I guess. But it seems like there's a lot more there than just the fact that he eats brains. The Brainiac sounds more sci-fi.
It does, yeah. It makes him sound like he's he's the devil smart. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, so that's the thing. Like, I don't know that he's necessarily the devil, but he's definitely in league with some super. Yeah, like, well, and he's definitely like a witch, like a wizard, a sorcerer, whatever you want to call it. So that's the thing. You started to get more of that, especially outside of the United States. But then, you know, as we've seen Manos, the Hands of Fate, there you kind of, that's, I mean, technically, you know, it is kind of about a evil worshiping cult. And, you know, again, like we talked about earlier, it's in a far tucked away off the map place, right? Well, then you have Rosemary's Baby. And that's the thing about Rosemary's Baby and the other big devil Satan movies that we'll talk about tonight is that those movies changed the perception of the fact that this stuff was happening in some small tucked away place. So like this could be happening next door in the apartment next to you in New York City. This could be happening in the nation's capital. This could be happening in, you know, in a very highly populated place right now today.
Yeah, you think you've just got a noisy, annoying neighbor, but it's the devil.
It's the devil. Yeah, no, I mean it was not really a thing to like kind of try to, and the thing with Rosemary's Baby is the fact that it's, you know, it's, the devil isn't really like a character, and it's more just the fact that there's this cult that worships, you know, I don't think that they explicitly say they worship the devil or Satan, but that they, you know, they worship some kind of demonic entity, and they have it. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen, they would impregnate Rosemary, and that's, you know, the baby is the spawn of Satan, basically, and that's, you know, that was kind of the other thing about that, it was based on a novel, right? It was a best-selling novel, huge best-selling novel. It kind of obviously got a lot of attention. So there was an influx of these kind of movies afterwards. And you still had the taking place in a remote desert or off the beaten path devil cult, but you also started to get more like, you know, the Manson stuff happened, so they started mixing in elements of like Manson cults with devil cults, and so you got a lot of like hippie cult movies in the early 70s where they're like worshiping evil and all this stuff. But obviously it got kicked up to the next level in 1973. So we'll talk about that later on.
Okay. Okay.
But we're about to get back into the exciting middle of The Devil's Hand, and
yeah, where were we?
So he finally met this dream devil woman, essentially witch woman, who who basically conjured isn't the right word, who lured him essentially to be converted by this cult. This cult is gonna. They're already. He went to her house once, and now she's whisking him away to be inducted in this cult. So you gotta love how quick they're moving along with this.
What was the what did she say? Gambu? Gamba?
Gamba.
Gamba.
Yeah, Gamba. Yeah, you gotta love the devil god.
The devil god.
Yeah. So that's I don't know if you need the devil and god, but I don't know. Maybe you gotta be very specific.
Not just a devil, the devil god.
The devil god, get it right.
Pay your respects.
Gotta be really specific about this. Yeah, so he's about to be inducted into the Gamba cult. So, and I guess we'll meet our friend the doll maker again.
Yeah.
The high priest or whatever high executioner or whatever she called him. Who's actually played by the actor's name is Neil Hamilton, and he played Commissioner Gordon in all 120 episodes of the original Batman TV series with Adam West.
How about that?
Yeah, if he's familiar to some of you, I haven't really watched the Batman show, but he's not the original Commissioner Gordon, because there was a Batman serial, I think, in the 40s. I don't know if we'll watch that or not, but there was a serial. So, and we'll be talking about more of the actors in tonight's film later. The one thing I forgot to say about the lead actress playing Bianca tonight, the devil woman, she had an interesting reputation up to this point. Her career had started. She got her stage name from Errol Flynn, the famous swashbuckler actor, who was also very well known for wooing very young women. And Linda Christian was one of those women right out of high school that he wooed and gave her stage name, basically, and wrote about it in his autobiography. That's how stoked he was about it. And then she went on to marry another swashbuckling actor, Tyrone Power. And they divorced, I think, a few years before this film was produced, like a year or two before tonight's film was produced. But shortly after her divorce, she became associated with a famous photo called "The Kiss of Death," where so this is a really interesting, this is a wild story. So the photo is her kissing this guy who's in a race car. He's obviously in some kind of auto race. This was 1957, I think. This was her boyfriend at the time. He was an aristocrat, and he was in this auto race. Well, like, the photo was snapped of her kissing him on the cheek, and he pulled off in his Ferrari race car, and like his tire blew out going 120 miles an hour, and he wrecked and he died, and like 7 other like spectators were killed,
Well, like,
and his navigator was killed.
Happened?
Yeah, like pulled out.
He peeled out and then immediately killed 7 people.
Basically, yeah.
Yeesh.
And this was like this photo of her like kissing him on the cheek was like, that was the name that was given to it, was the kiss. So she had this reputation. Right, that was, they were trying to put it off. You know how the tabloids they like to do that.
She's a witch.
Yeah, again, that's kind of she had an interesting reputation going into tonight's film. So I just felt like, forgot to mention that earlier. I felt like that was an interesting factoid about Linda Christian. So, as we continue to see her woo Rick, just keep that in mind. If she feels eerie to you, maybe because she is a witch.
Maybe she's real. Maybe she's method.
Could be. Well, if anything else before we get into it, Evan.
So, do you think the high executioner got into cult activity or doll making first?
Do you think doll making leads to cult activity?
That's
is that a
question.
gateway?
Yeah, it's a gateway hobby to devil worship.
Yeah, I think you get into doll making first. We're just gonna keep the ball rolling.
Keep it going.
Take care of it as we go. Here we go.
Do you feel it? Do you feel the unholy spirit?
Running through my body, all through my hand.
That's what church needs is more dolls and drums.
Well, it's voodoo. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It just needs to be
voodoo church.
Tonight is the first night of the full moon.
Of course it is.
We must offer up sacrifice to Gamba. It's the devil god's decree that we offer a human for appeasement.
A human? You mean they're going to kill somebody?
Not necessarily, but a human is going to be offered on the altar of sacrifice, and it's up to Gamba to decide.
Step right up, be Gamba's sacrifice.
It's like Russian roulette, except the odds are greater. Look up there. In our ceremony, we use a sword, concealed in one of the covers hanging from the wheel. The wheel is spun, and Gamba makes his decision. The cover is lowered upon the heart of the subject. If the sword is in the cover, it pierces the heart. If Gamba decides to spare his subject, the cover bends harmlessly.
Sounds like a million laughs. Does
Really?
everybody get to play?
No. The subject is selected when in doubt of his loyalty during his test period.
Have you ever been...
My loyalty has been proven.
I look like the goddess. I'm proofing up. It's all in the flesh, baby.
Worshippers of Gamba, the great devil god, hear me well. Tonight is the first night of the full moon. The tides rise to their highest level and vibrations fill the air. It is a time for restlessness and madness. It is a time for death. For Gamba decrees it. Gamba, the great devil god, commands that one of you be tested. A human sacrifice must be offered. Only Gamba can determine whether a life will be taken. The judgment is his.
Is that Buddha?
Bring in the subject.
Might be. You'd think they really care either way. They just needed something that looked exotic.
That's the devil, right?
Yeah, yep.
O Gamba, great devil god, ruler of man's destiny, we offer this lovely girl on the sacrificial altar. You alone in your wisdom will judge her. If she is unworthy, if her loyalty is in doubt, then she must be punished. But should she prove deserving and fit to serve you, your power alone will spare her. O great Gamba, highest executioner, supreme devil god of evil, make your decision. Shall the maiden live or die?
What?
Gamba.
Gamba protects his own. The girl lives. Oh, thank you, great Gamba. You have proven yourself well.
Everybody give her a big hand.
It's our turn now.
And for my next trick...
He has been informed of our code and beliefs.
Yes, High Executioner.
Kneel.
No, my name's not Neil. My name's Rick.
Oh, great Gamba, we offer a new subject who has come to join us. During his trial period, watch him, study him, and then test him, O great devil god. Will you swear absolute allegiance to the great devil god Gamba?
I will.
Will you follow his commands without question, though it means someone's destruction, even your own?
I will.
You will, above all else, seal your lips and swear yourself to secrecy.
I will.
You, his sponsor, will be held accountable. Do you accept this responsibility?
I do.
It is done. From this moment on, there is no turning back. You are one of us now, a member of the cult of the great devil god Gamba. Guard this privilege well.
Is that all?
No.
That it?
A new life is going to begin for you, Rick.
Can we finally go back to your place now?
Well, first we're going to have a covered dish lunch. Our cult potluck.
Oh, yeah. They look like, some of the people in that cult look like they would definitely bring a good, big old greasy dish to the potluck.
You still don't quite believe, do you, darling? You have renounced goodness, forsaken virtue. You'll never escape me, darling.
I know it. God help me, I want it this way.
I think you mean Gamba help you.
Yeah, seriously, guy. You're not really practicing religion. Bugle boy.
8 straight.
It's incredible. Red Horse Polly.
Happens all the time.
I just can't get over it. Yesterday you called me and said, buy every available share. Today it started to skyrocket. Last week you said, sell Amalgamated Industries. And the bottom dropped out.
Just lucky, I guess.
Something more than that. Someone is giving you some very valuable tips.
Well, let's just say I have a good advisor.
Goodbye, Mr. Bennett.
Goodbye.
They don't say anything about witchcraft being off limits when it comes to insider trading.
They're going to send Gamba to jail for
Yeah.
insider trading.
Right.
There we are. Well, you should feel very proud of your protege. He's passed every test so far. Not once has he weakened in attempted contact with Miss Trent.
I never thought he would.
Your confidence in him is quite admirable, my dear. I am a little surprised.
At what?
Well, this little romance of yours has lasted longer than the others.
I've always come back to you, Francis.
Of course. That's why I can afford to be so tolerant of your brief affairs. You will keep this one brief, won't you, my dear? Your Rick will receive the loyalty test now. I hope he merits your belief in him.
Talk about an icy stare.
Well, if it isn't Rick Turner, Bianca's private property.
Well, what are you doing here?
I'm lost. Where's the nearest bar?
Looks like you've had enough already.
Rick, I'm in trouble. Isn't there someplace we can go and talk?
Come on.
Nice.
Coffee's still hot. Would you like some?
This is what I need.
I don't think that is what you...
You'd better drink this.
Sure.
What's your problem?
How do you get out, Rick? How do you get your soul back? The devil got Gumby's got your soul, too. Don't you want it back?
You don't know what you're saying. You're drunk.
Gotta get out. I've got to.
You've been sworn to secrecy. We all have. For your own sake, don't say any more.
Why? Would you tell on me?
What makes you think I won't?
Would you tell on me?
You don't belong in this any more than I do.
You should have thought of that before you joined.
Well, you don't
Really
know.
embraced this whole cult thing.
Yeah,
They play
he
with
took
evil
right
like it was
to it.
some kind of a new toy. They cut all the goodness out of you, and you forget what it's like to be kind. You become a robot without any will of your own. And the things they make you do. But suddenly, they don't have to make you do those things anymore. You do them because you want to. And then it's too late, because you're past all decency.
Shut up.
You're afraid. Not for me, but for yourself. Oh, I know the pattern well. Bianca has used her powers for you, hasn't she? She's given you a taste of easy money and shown you what you'll be able to do when you receive these powers.
Stop it.
It's not worth it, Rick. Believe me, I know. I'd give anything to go back, to live again without fear.
You'd better go.
You are afraid.
Just get out of here. I should never have listened to you. Go on, get out. I don't want to hear any more.
It's all getting too real, man.
Tell Miss Milan I'm here.
Whatever you're drinking, I'll have one too. My darling, you're trembling.
Am I? Bianca, what would you do if I told you?
What?
Nothing. Just thinking out loud.
What's troubling you? Maybe I can help.
Well, I've learned of I've heard. There's a disloyal member in the cult.
Oh,
Why should this trouble you?
She's kind of confused. She's...
A woman? There's no problem here. Your duty is clear. You must report her.
What will they do to her?
That's not your concern.
She'll be tested. That's it, isn't it? She'll be placed under the wheel. Bianca, I can't.
You must. Have you forgotten your own loyalty may be tested? If you love me, you won't hesitate. Not for a minute. Darling, I took an oath with you, remember? If you don't report this girl, you place me in equal jeopardy. Rick, darling, I couldn't bear it not to see you again.
What's keeping him?
He'll be here in a minute, darling. Just relax.
Can't stand all these eyes on me.
All these dolls just staring at you.
Frank is quite fanatic about them, especially his own. In his eyes, his doll is his soul.
Gambler is pleased. You've done well, Rick.
Hey, what is this?
I give him my report to Mr. Lamont, and he's very satisfied.
You mean this whole thing was a setup?
Precisely.
Well, you play some nice games.
You may wait for me in the other room.
Let's go, Rick.
Bianca, I don't wish to detain you, but if you'd give me just a moment more.
Excuse me, darling.
Oh, is he finally going to discover his long forgotten fiance?
That'll be fine.
Thank you, Francis.
Well, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Night, Rick.
Night.
Night, doll man.
Your grandparents ever have those like bed frames with the little compartments?
No, that
mine
one,
did.
Oh,
They
that's so
definitely
cool.
did. Yeah, I always thought it was neat.
Yeah, a little. I mean, it makes sense.
Shelf
you
right
know?
there with the bed.
Yeah,
Built in.
definitely nowadays too. Makes even more sense.
Yeah, they didn't even have a phone. To
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Fine. Nothing ever changes with me. How about you?
Okay. Where's Miss Frank?
The nurse? Oh, she's off my case. I have a new one.
Get off my case.
Rick. I understand.
Do you?
It's not a very romantic prospect being tied down to an invalid.
Donna, no, you don't understand.
Please. It's enough that you came.
Listen to me, Donna. You may not believe what I'm going to tell you, but at midnight tonight, you're going to be all right. Any discomfort you feel will disappear. Your strength will return. Your health will be restored.
At midnight. What makes you so sure?
Just trust me. I know it's a hard thing to ask after what's happened, but trust me. I'll call you tomorrow.
And that is gonna take us to our second break. Well, 2/3 of the way into The Devil's Hand. What are we thinking so far, Evan?
It's been an intriguing ride so far. This guy is like he really just dove in head first into this cult. He's halfway to becoming a cult leader, I think.
Oh, big time, yeah.
He's been here like a week.
I will say that's like the interesting thing about this movie is that it par for the course would be that he would resist it for so long.
He'd be kind of lukewarm
But
about, I'm not really in this cult.
Right, like I don't know if I should keep my lip, whatever. The fact that he just dove right into the deep end has allowed
Hail Gamba.
It actually has allowed for the exploration of like just cult concepts, right? The
Yeah.
idea of like, oh, this person like wants to get out, so they're confiding to another cult member. It's like, oh well, you've got to turn them in. You've got like all the cult dynamics. It's kind of interesting to see them exploring that, because I feel like
Yeah, the
most
conflict's
movies
a little
don't
different. They wouldn't go that
they
way.
don't get that far. Yeah, they usually, whoever the person is, they are never fully
In.
inducted. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're never fully a member. Rick just
Rick, yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
head
I don't know
first.
how he's gonna get out of this one, honestly.
I mean, he's definitely wrapped up. I
He's
mean,
pretty deep.
the dolls seem to be the key,
Yeah.
don't they? So the dolls might be able to, you know, if he can get a hold of his doll, he might be able to save himself.
He's gonna seize his own fate, or whatever they said.
I mean, he's not a likable character, so I mean, if he
No,
didn't, I
no.
wouldn't be totally upset about it. But I mean, he's
I don't mind having an unlikable protagonist.
right.
Especially in some of these old movies,
I mean,
like
I think at the time they don't even realize how unlikable it now. Yeah, now of course he's unlikable.
Yeah,
Back then, it's like,
back-
oh, he's got multiple girls.
right,
He's
this is just a very
playboy.
just a very average American man.
Right. So it is now in hindsight, it is a little interesting, right? Kind of going against the grain with a kind of a I mean, but that's interesting though. You introduce him as kind of a morally ambiguous kind of character, not really like tied to anything. Is he gonna kind of get a hold of his life by the end, or is this cult gonna consume him? Who knows?
Is he gonna consume this cult?
Maybe, yeah.
It feels like he's making some kind of power play.
He's definitely, well, that's the thing with him just telling her, hey, I can make all your problems go away. It almost makes me wonder, like, at what did he decide to do this once he saw the doll pinned up, or has he had these plans for a while? Like, oh, I'm gonna make her better. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, then I'll have two girlfriends.
Yeah. Back to two girl. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely doing well for himself. And the actor playing Rick is played by a man named Robert Alda, who we won't really know from anything, but a lot of, especially fans of the show MASH, will know his son Alan Alda, who is a famous actor. I mean,
Masher.
No, not. I mean, I can't think of anything recent that you know Alan Alda from. But he's kind of one of those. Bill Hader does a great impression of Alan Alda, or did when he was on SNL, and that was even like getting close to 15 years ago. So, that's how old an Alan Alda impression like was. You could be that, but like, oh yeah, that's Alan Alda. Now, like a lot of people, are like, who the hell is Alan Alda? Well, famous actor in the 70s and 80s, and this is his father right here, who was an Italian American actor, and who went on to, shortly after tonight's film, left America, went back to Italy and lived in Italy, and made films in Europe. He'd come back to the United States every now and again to film parts, but for the majority of his later career, he was making movies in Europe. And that's one of the trailers that we're going to see for the break, because we've been talking tonight about Satan and the devil and all that good stuff. And we talked about earlier Rosemary's Baby, how that kind of brought the devil to kind of a certain prominence, with this stuff could be real and it could be happening right next door.
Brought it to your hometown.
Right. You had a lot of similar movies that followed devil worshipping cults. Still didn't quite go super far with like the devil is real. But then it was 5 years after Rosemary's Baby with The Exorcist in 1973 that really turned it up a notch. Because in that movie, obviously, if you're familiar with it, it is about a demon that possesses a little girl, right? And the demon, through this little girl, literally says, I'm the devil, right? And so that's the thing is that, and the demon specifically is named Pazuzu. But there is this whole thing about like the spirit's leaders, I am the devil, and so that was like, and again, like we talked about earlier, this movie has a lot in common with Rosemary's Baby in that it was based on a novel. It takes place in a big city that, it takes place in Washington, D.C. So there's that idea, again, this could be happening in a big metropolitan area right now. And, obviously it brought the whole idea of exorcisms. And like, again, you didn't have these kind of movies for the longest time because of the church and the Catholic Church specifically. So The Exorcist went there, by saying, here's a Catholic priest doing an exorcism, right? That was kind of like never had been shown before. So obviously there were a lot of protests and a lot of like, there's a lot of hubbub and a lot of pushback, a lot of controversy, which made that film a huge phenomenon.
Oh,
like,
of course, yeah.
massive.
As soon as people start protesting it just
massive, big, that
publicity.
always kicks your movie into the next level. And so obviously the other big thing with The Exorcist was that it was an acclaimed film and it was nominated for Academy Awards, and
it helps if it's good.
Yeah, it helps if it's good, and it was a very good horror film. And so that, and just the way that it treated this idea of the devil and these evil spirits, that it could all be real. That's the thing. No media had really ever approached it that this could all be real until Rosemary's Baby, and then really viscerally for the first time with The Exorcist. So, of course, what do you get? A shit ton of Exorcist clones, right? And especially in Italy, they loved their Exorcist clones. So we've got a trailer for The Exorcist, and then we've got a trailer for one of the Exorcist clones out of Italy, which stars Robert Alda as the Exorcist. Caveat on that, though, his stuff was actually shot later. The movie was originally entitled Lisa and the Devil. It was directed by a famous Italian horror director named Mario Bava. For some reason, it was recut and there were reshoots to make it more of like a deliberate Exorcist ripoff. And it was retitled House of Exorcism. And, all the scenes with Robert Alda, he's basically doing an Exorcist thing. So that's the second trailer we're going to see, because it shows a lot of the Robert Alda stuff. So it's, perfect time to see that the lead actor in tonight's film continued to kind of deal with the subject matter. And in an Exorcist knockoff, no less. So keeping the whole devil theme, alive. And so we get these two trailers for The Exorcist and the House of Exorcism. And then when we come back, we'll get into the exciting conclusion of The Devil's Hand. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Swear that was her. It could be her twin.
Miserable fucking bastard! You won't use me tonight. You won't use me in your games tonight. Damn you! Dinner is served. Dinner is served. Dinner is served. Take your shitty hands off me!
My God, that can't be her voice.
What happened?
Can that white host of yours erase the darkness of crime? No blessing, no prayer has reached that house. They're damned forever. Like this and this, huh?
Stop it, you fiend!
Don't break my balls, priest. I know what you're thinking. But even if I tell you, there's nothing you can do. It's already happened. And it's about to happen again.
From this house, you and your accursed souls, I exorcise you from this house forever! Begone! Begone!
And we are back. So those are the trailers for The Exorcist and The House of Exorcism.
Don't break my balls, priest.
Don't make my balls, priest. That was amazing. That it may be worth it to watch that movie just for that line alone. But I mean,
yeah, The Exorcist didn't have that.
No,
Or did it?
It has a lot of vulgar stuff in there too. Have you seen all, like, have you watched it all before? Like,
I think so, yeah. I think I've seen The Exorcist.
I watched it really one time that I feel like I've sat down, maybe twice actually. And it's just I don't know, man. It is one of those like movies that, like, it's so funny to watch a knockoff of The Exorcist because like it always reminds you how good The Exorcist actually is, right? But
I did enjoy where she was pretty clearly on a wire for a sec
right,
there.
flying through there,
flying across the room.
I mean, again, that's what the original Exorcist. I mean, they had big studio money to just kind of do all these crazy effects. So
it really sells it, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the thing with these low budget like Exorcist ripoffs, was that even when they would do an awful job, it was just still fun. Like, because a lot of them would try to do the head turning thing.
Yeah.
And so I've seen there's a Turkish version of The Exorcist that is like, does the effect of it's just like a fake body, and then there's a woman like inside of it, and she's just like turning around. And it just looks absurd. But it like just speaks to the power of like that story. I mean, obviously into the exploitation factor of like films, but and the whole like devil film kind of trifecta was like, of these big films, was capped off with The Omen in 1976, which was 3 years after The Exorcist.
I haven't seen The Omen.
The Omen is it's been a while since I've seen it, but I've seen it a few times and I really enjoyed it. And even The Omen 2 is a fun movie. But there, like the first one is it's funny because like Rosemary's Baby and Omen both kind of deal with almost like followers of Satan or the devil or whatever you want to call it. Whereas The Exorcist does not really. I think that's the beauty of The Exorcist, is that there's no really like clear origin to why this little girl is possessed, right?
Yeah, it's just happening.
It just happens, right? That's what's so scary about it. The other two movies, it's like, oh, there's like a cult or there's a group of people who is trying to make this play out this way.
Sometimes you lose something when you try to explain it.
Right. Well, I mean, I think both Rosemary's Baby and The Omen lean into into that in the right way. But yeah, I mean, there's a power to when, I mean, in horror movies, especially like, something like Jaws, where there's no explanation for why this thing
Just
is happening.
happening.
It's just happening.
Just gotta
Horror
deal with
movies
it.
have that luxury of
Yeah.
not having to like, and then there's a huge effect in that. But even when you do need to kind of give some motivation behind why things are going on, you can find creative ways to do it. I think both of those other movies did, but between
What year was The Omen?
76.
76.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not even into the 80s yet.
No. So, but just between those three films, those kind of set the groundwork for, through pop culture, for there to be more of a belief in
Proliferation of devil.
that the devil's real, that the evil is real, and it continues to this day with all the
expression
stuff with QAnon. The idea that this is really real. The devil is a Satan worshippers.
Does QAnon think the devil is real?
Like all the,
Okay,
about all the,
wrapped
like
into the
all the,
conspiracy.
it's almost like the shockwave still of like the satanic panic stuff from the 80s.
Well, see, yeah, that's where I was trying to lead to was, these movies, I guess after these we have a kind of the spread, a lot more devil stuff
Right.
in pop culture.
Right.
And then in the 80s is when we have, the satanic panic.
Right. And yeah, those three movies are kind of pointed to as part of there were many factors behind what created the perfect storm that led to the satanic panic. But obviously pop culture played a part, and those three movies in particular. Just because the popularity was so widespread and that the reverberations were felt through all these ripoffs and knockoffs and similar. It exploded into the culture. And so in the 80s, it became, people were able to use these details to describe their own experiences that they had, which a lot of times were proven to be false. And a lot of people lied. It came out later that people lied about, being, satanic priests.
Your Honor, she did not turn her head all the way around.
I mean, it's crazy how you go and listen to, like, again, I love Last Podcast on the Left, but they do different series about, satanic panic personalities, or they did kind of like a whole series on some satanic panic stuff. And it is crazy how far it got to people being prosecuted and sentenced.
Oh my God.
Because it was like, oh yeah, like they did this satanic people, like, and a lot of it's just it's way too complex for me to really go into now. If you're really interested, there's so many documentaries, podcasts, things you could read, look up. If you're interested in it, go, do research. And we'll get other like devil movies on this show. I think we're going to talk a little about it a little bit more, but it is just worth kind of considering how, like, it's considered such a widespread thing now, and it really was prolificated through pop culture media, but up until the 60s it wasn't really part of the landscape, especially in horror. You would think that it was, but it wasn't. And that was what I learned in my research for this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What do you think the current state of the devil in fiction is, or maybe we should save that for the last.
Yeah, we can save it for that, but that's important to think about now. Yeah, I mean, where are we with the devil and pop culture and horror movies in particular?
Yeah,
and then,
since then, because the Satanic Panic was the 80s, and it's been a while since then.
I mean, it has, but you would be shocked at what some people really. the things that are being said right now. We'll talk about it at the end.
Oh boy. So where were we?
So basically, our hero Rick has
he's got some kind of plan.
Yeah, he's got a plan to help his ex-fiance get her health back, which was taken away by this voodoo cult that he joined. He's just suddenly realized, oh yeah, maybe I should help her, and so he's gonna try. But these devil worshippers are pretty crafty.
Yeah.
We've seen with the dolls that they're pretty crafty. We'll see. We'll see if
I'm sure Rick can outsmart this cult.
We'll see if Rick can pull this off, or if this cult is going to get the upper hand. Well, anything before we get into the exciting conclusion of the Devil's Hand, Evan?
I really hope that Rick's plan doesn't involve an acupuncture-based cure. Like he pulls out the big pin and then he just sticks a bunch of little pins into the doll.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I've got an idea.
My guru said this is exactly what you need. He said instead of one giant pin, a bunch of little pins to restore you to health.
I was talking to the guy down by the Buddha statue.
Oh, all this new age religion. What are you gonna? I mean, that was the other thing. Not to go on too much, but in this time, why you started seeing more of this come up in the late 50s, early 60s in movies was because new age religion was starting to become like a thing around, like post World War II and all that. You start having the exploration of other religious ideologies as opposed to just Christianity. Just kind of Judaism, the big three. You know, you start getting all this.
We discovered psychedelics and things got weird.
Real weird, real fast. So we'll see if any of that rears its ugly head here. I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting conclusion of The Devil's Hand right now.
Rather late, I should be leaving.
Thank you for dropping by, Francis.
My dear, you're an extraordinary woman, but a woman nevertheless.
It took a lot of arranging to get Mary in as her nurse. It was for a purpose, wasn't it?
It was, my dear. However, don't you think this relationship has reached its end?
So is the nurse
No.
an imposter?
You mean because Rick visited this girl today, you think you're
she's
losing
part of
your
the cult.
hold on him?
She's an agent.
If I lose my hold on him, how can you hope to keep yours? If he should leave the cult, he could be a threat to us.
What is it you feel should be done?
Get rid of the girl.
Put another pin in her. Yeah, I've been getting some like Karloff vibes from this executioner guy.
Yeah, I've been trying to kind of put a pin on where exactly he's trying to go with this performance, or what exactly this character is supposed to be. I guess I could see that kind of. I don't know. The actor's kind of playing it a little strange, but I could pick up those Karloff vibes.
But he's gonna wait.
It's got to be midnight.
Oh, I did tell her midnight. I don't want to be.
The devil, if anything, is always on time. He's not
Let's
late,
not
and
be
he's definitely
hasty.
not early.
We'll wait a few days and see what happens.
As you say. Are you going home now?
Not directly, no. I have to go back to the shop for a few minutes.
Of course.
Good night, my dear.
Good night.
I mean, if you know you got to be there at midnight, why go early? What?
What?
I'm really confused.
Is it under her arm?
Oh, maybe. Maybe it's like through the dress. Uh-oh.
I thought he was like doubling down, like I was sticking it through
Yeah,
her
I did
heart.
too.
I'm all in. I'm fully in this cult.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. This isn't a big worshiping chamber. This is just a normal back room.
Gee, I wonder if somebody was here.
Yeah, it is just a booted statue. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit.
They busted.
Cult expose.
It's remarkable. The pain's gone. And outside of being a little weak from too much bed rest, I feel fine. How on earth did you... All right, I won't ask any more questions. Rick, will I see you again? All right.
Oh no, what is this
I understand.
chick about to do?
Goodbye, Rick.
Well, how do you feel today?
Fine.
That's good. I brought you some coffee. If you need anything else, just ring the bell.
Whoa.
Oh,
What a loud shirt.
I love
Yes,
it.
Mary.
That's a witchy
you.
fit.
Yeah.
Ahmed, prepare some drinks for us. I'm expecting Mr. Turner. Hello, darling.
I got your message. It sounded urgent.
Frank is calling a meeting at 10:30 tonight.
Well, what's up?
We don't question Frank. We just obey. Aren't you going to kiss me?
You witch. You beautiful, evil witch.
I'm never going to let you go. Remember that.
I'll never want to go. You remember that. What's going on?
love me?
You know I do.
It's odd, isn't it? How sometimes the things we do so innocently can be misinterpreted.
Like what?
For instance, someone might completely misunderstand your close contact with Miss Trent lately.
So that's it.
It's true, isn't it? You've been to see her. You've spoken with her on the phone.
Listen to me. Maybe once I thought I was in love with Donna, but that's over with.
Is it?
What do you
Oh.
I'd like to be sure.
How much proof do you need?
Betty Boop's in the room.
Every waking minute you're on my mind. Even when I sleep, I can't shake you. You're all around me. In the air. In the rain and in the sunlight. You're as much me as I am.
Tell me. Tell me.
I know what you are. I know what you've made me, but it doesn't matter. Nothing does. I can't kiss you without wanting more. I'll never have enough of you. If I thought I'd lose you,
You'd what?
I'd kill you.
Uh-oh.
We shall begin. The great Gamba has been offended. He demands retribution. There is a traitor among us. Someone in this room does not belong. The devil god has been betrayed. Traitor! Hear me well, you have been discovered. Gamba knows which one you are. At midnight tonight, you shall die. Gamba will be avenged.
Is it that guy?
We shall meet again here at 12:30. One of you will not be among us.
I guess so, yep.
They're undercover or something.
I just know it's me. It's gotta be me. I'm the traitor.
Have Ahmed shut that music off?
Darling, it's so good.
Darling, it's so good. Not a good liar. Uh-oh. Car's gonna blow up, right? Yeah.
O great Gamba, justice has been done. Your unworthy servant has been eliminated. Let Gamba's betrayer serve as an example for the rest of you. The traitor Lindell did not believe. He was here to expose us. He was going to publicize us and maliciously attack the great devil god. The danger is past. The intruder has been removed from our midst. One moment, please. You will stay. Come here. The light is better and there's something I want you to see.
Believe me, Frank. Francis, I had no
How
idea.
long have you been with us now?
Over a year.
Over a year. When you can still be so foolish, so dangerously careless.
But he lied to me, too. I didn't know he was a newspaper man.
Here are some of the notes he was making. Not very flattering, are they?
If I would have known, I wouldn't have sponsored him. I swear it.
So we've seen this guy before.
Would you be good enough to
Yeah,
get
he
your
was in
doll from
Attack of the
shelf?
Giant Legions. He was the husband, that jealous husband.
Yeah, the crazy one who's running through the
Yeah.
swamp. Yeah.
Hello, doll shop. Yes, she is. Oh, just a moment.
Hello,
May I
doll
know?
shop.
It's Mary calling from the hospital.
Thank you. Hello, Mary. Thank you for calling. I don't think you'll be needing any longer at the hospital.
How did you hear about it? She was only discharged a few minutes ago.
Discharged? But that's impossible. I see.
Just a minute.
Goodbye,
Get out,
Mary.
get out while you can.
Rick. How nice of you to come for me.
Well, don't be nice to me, Donnie. You're just making things more difficult.
She just left. Mr. Turner picked her up.
Thank you, Mary.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
It seems your first suspicions were correct.
There's no doubt now, but it was Rick who was in here the other evening.
I shall have to use greater discretion in passing out keys. What do you intend doing with that?
If you don't mind, I have my own plans for it.
As you wish.
Then this gesture is just for old time's sake?
Something like that.
Pretty fancy car.
Belongs to a friend of mine. I know I owe you some sort of explanation, but there's very little I can say. Don, I want you to leave. Leave this town. Move away, far away from me.
But why?
I can't give you any explanations that would make any sense. Just believe me. For your own sake and for mine, Donna, I'm asking you to leave.
All right.
Poor Donna. Uh-oh.
Donna.
No, she's gonna lure her to the...
Donna.
get even by banging his wife.
Donna. 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 Can you hear me, Donna? Yes. Who are you? It's not easy to reach you, but I'm beginning to. Donna.
I reach you better when I turn my spin my neck around.
Where have you been? I've been calling you all evening.
I'm sorry, some things to attend to.
You might have at least let me know.
Don't be angry, darling. I said I'm sorry.
You could have had the decency to appear to me through the ether.
Yeah, she doesn't even need a phone.
O worshippers of the great devil god Gamba, another full moon is above us. It is a time to pass judgment, a time to offer sacrifice, a time to test the unworthy. One among you must be called upon to prove his loyalty, to erase all doubt. Bring in the subject.
There's the full moon again. Do you think it means it's been just like a month?
Yeah, I mean, yes, so.
This is all transpired over the course of
months, multiple months.
Okay.
We've had a few full moons. We've had at least 2 or 3. Well, I mean, at least we've had at least 3.
This young girl is to be the sacrifice. You stare at her without recognition, but there is one here who knows her. She was a part of his past, a past he should have deserted when he declared himself to Gamba.
I did, I swear it.
Why then did you enter these premises one night under the veil of darkness? Why then did you remove the pin from the doll, thereby administering the cure?
I have not been disloyal. Bianca, tell him. You've got to believe me.
Oh, great Gamba, he asks for your trust. This unworthy servant begs to be believed. It is for you to say.
Uh-oh.
Step forward. Prove yourself. It shall be your hand that turns the wheel.
My hand? Then I am to blame if the sword...
Blame? This is not a question of blame. This is a question of loyalty. Spin the wheel.
But why her?
Is that what they're going to start doing on Wheel of Fortune when they get a new host?
What we are doing.
Spin the
Have you
wheel.
forgotten your oath of allegiance? You swore to follow the commands without question, though it meant someone's destruction, perhaps
Right, in the
even
audience
your own.
tonight is your wife and 2
Spin
kids.
the wheel.
Spin the wheel. Yeah, if it was like a scary, like a scary host,
Scary
that'd
Wheel
be
of-
so fun. Scary Wheel of Fortune. Spin the wheel.
Scary Pat Sajak.
That was barely a push.
Well, if you have to do that, do you give it a big spin or do you just like, kind of?
I think you give it a big ol' spin.
All right, baby, this one's for all the marbles.
She knows. Look at her eyes. It's all her doing. I warned you of the danger, but you wouldn't listen. You speak of a choice. There's no choice here. That knife is set to kill. Murderers, all of you.
What part of Devil Cult don't you understand? Oh.
Is Gamba just another word for hand differently? All these devil cults are in the hand and stuff. Oh shit.
Must have been Gamba's will.
Yeah, I guess so. Ah! Uh-oh. Oh no, her doll. His doll.
Are you all right?
What was I doing in there?
Never mind. The important thing is that you're safe and free of it.
Are you free of it too?
Yeah.
Yes, darling, we both are.
Yep, we're good.
What's gonna happen when all those dolls burn?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what he thinks.
Okay.
There is no escape. Menace. Wow, that was The Devil's Hand. What did we think, Evan?
So is there a sequel to this movie?
Yep, The Devil's Feet.
Ah, okay, yeah.
I mean, makes sense, right?
Yeah, they set it up for one.
Yeah, no, they did. Unfortunately, no sequel, but it is, I mean, the dolls were there, so I guess that's kind of the key to all the power, right?
Yeah, whoever holds the dolls holds the power.
Yep. And I guess she got it away before the fire really tore everybody up. So it worked out
For her,
or did
maybe
it?
not
yeah,
for
her, not for Rick.
Well, or probably the rest
Or
of the
Donna.
congregation.
Yeah. Or well, yeah, I think they probably all died for sure. They didn't make it out of there. Did you see the way that they were doing their jazz hands? Those people aren't very spry. They're not making it out of there very fast. They're getting all burned up. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It's funny. It's almost like you can tell that it's from like 1959. Like I know I've said it before, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but there's definitely a Psycho effect where like in 1960 suddenly you have the just kind of people are just showing more. And like again, we were talking about City of the Dead earlier tonight. That's where it's a nice cross section of like they're dealing with witches who had made pacts with the devil on top of like really brutal knife kills and car wrecks and all these things. It was like, again, it was a British film, but it was still going there.
So this being pre-Psycho didn't.
Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, I don't think it. I mean, obviously, budget was a factor.
Yeah, the thing with the wheel, like, I mean, I don't want to say that it wasn't effective. I mean, it's, there's some suspense there,
But it's not.
They could have shown a little more.
Yeah.
With the whole setup they have there, it feels a little silly that they have to spin the thing with a long stick.
Right. Just hit one of those foot pedals.
Yeah.
Four. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not the most efficient cult uh that I've ever seen. But
Yeah, I think if your whole thing is you have a big wheel that you have to spin, it's
it's gonna take
not very efficient.
well, I think that's really what we're getting at is the fact that there just wasn't really a body count to this movie,
It's true. Yeah, yeah. For all of
Um, the
it's
supernatural happenings.
yeah.
Yeah. You kept seeming like maybe they were building up for a death here, a murder there. And yeah, this movie just didn't quite go there.
Yeah, for this being about, a murderous devil worshipping cult, it's fairly tame.
Yeah, like I think like again, a film made in Mexico probably would have had a body count. A film made in Italy, same using the same plot, the same ideas, probably would have had a body count.
It went harder on the sexual angle, I would say.
Yeah, oh big time. Yeah, that's well, I mean again, that's that it's funny. Like even that was getting a little more they were getting a little more permissive in that area than they were about, you know, even mentioning devil and Satan.
Mhm.
I mean, again, if it wasn't played for fantasy and it wasn't played for laughs, um, it was probably going to be cut up or the rewrites were going to be requested or whatever from the Hayes Code. Um, that's why abroad they were able to kind of explore the themes, but then like we talked about the big trifecta of these movies. You kind of had a big cultural shift in the United States. It's just kind of funny the way that the movies kind of ushered in a change, but wasn't always like that. So yeah, I mean it was definitely it was an okay film. It wasn't great. It wasn't one of my favorites, but
I thought that both the witch lady and the cult leader gave pretty good performances.
yeah, I thought they were pretty good. I mean, the cult leader was fine. Not my favorite.
Yeah, I mean that's I don't know if anybody's gonna be, writing home about this movie, but
No, I mean it's also, again, it's just kind of in the writing and the direction. There's just kind of obviously I mean, we've seen movies that have worked with less that have had more flair. I mean, I think that's just kind of what you're
yeah.
kind of fall into. But I mean, it's definitely an example of just what independent film, horror films were like at this time, outside of Corman.
Yeah, and I don't dislike the concept. This cult that's like got voodoo dolls. And it's
Right,
like a
yeah.
doll shop. I mean that seems that's
That's
pretty good.
what was like fun about this movie and this episode tonight is that we got to kind of explore that subject matter, and we really haven't gotten that opportunity, at least in this context of a more modern, like when we watched Haxon, that was very much kind of, and especially looking at witchcraft specifically, a kind of I think we were looking at earlier films, once you start talking about the devil and getting the devil as a subject matter, that's like kind of a different territory. We got to break that ground tonight, so that was fun. That was enjoyable.
Yeah.
So next week we'll be moving back to familiar territory with just a good old dark house film. We'll have at least once a season, always, if not more than that. And we've got one from 1932 entitled The 13th Guest. And this is it's an old dark house film, old dark house murder mystery.
Okay.
But it's also pre-code. So
So who knows what we're gonna get?
maybe we'll get some. I mean, pre-code it's flexible. Sometimes you get some movies that were really pushing it,
Yeah.
and sometimes you get movies that are relatively tame.
They didn't know what they were about to lose.
Right. Yeah. So some people were taking advantage of it, some weren't. I don't know if the makers of this film were, but it's notable because it's an early appearance from Ho- Hollywood legend Ginger Rogers, who was a she was really famous for these dancing films in the 30s that kind of like shot her career to stardom early. These movies she did with Fred Astaire, they did like 12 dancing movies, and then she proved herself as like a very talented like leading actress and comedian, and she had a long career, but this will be one of her early films, and it's a nice little old dark house murder mystery, so always good to get one of those. So, of course, we will have that next Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And of course, we'll be back on next Wednesday with another exciting installment of Tales of Tomorrow. We had a we had another, we were on theme this past Wednesday with the evil.
Yeah, we've
Um,
had a whole week of evil women.
Yeah, and right at the perfect time of year too, with the Easter weekend being upon us. We timed it up just right. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll probably be back in space or time traveling or something with Tales of Tomorrow, but that'll be Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And of course, we will have the latest uh episode of our podcast, Spine Tingling Tales, this coming Monday. We'll get Evan's final installment of the Yellow Sign.
Yeah, the spooky finale.
Yeah, Evan, I'm very excited for this. Evan says it just gets right into it.
Yeah,
so.
the third chapter it's effective.
That's what I like. Just get right to
It's
it.
right into it. And if you haven't, listened to that,
yeah,
maybe this is the perfect time to check it out. You can play all three back to back.
Get all three. It'll be, if you're a completist, you like to binge, you want to get it all at once, you can get all of those on Monday. Evan will round out that trilogy, and hey, you want to go listen to the two that I've recorded so far, Telltale Heart and Mark Twain's A Ghost Story. Definitely check those out. We're 5 in, or we will be 5 in on Monday. And hey, I mean, tonight was episode 5 of season 9 of the Scream Stream. We're
moving right along,
halfway through it. So
Gosh.
yeah, the season is flying by, but we're gonna enjoy it as much as we can. And just again, want to shout out our audience tonight. Thanks for everybody for tuning in and bearing with us through all the BS we got.
Sometimes it just happens.
It happens. We got here. We're here. But of course, if you want to catch up on any of our past episodes, you can find those over on our YouTube page at Scream Stream Live. Check out all that stuff, our shorts, our cartoons, all that good stuff. We've got we'll have another Saturday night shocker live tomorrow night around 8:30. We do those every Saturday. So we've always got good stuff on the YouTube, so check that out. Tell your friends, spread the word. Like and subscribe, of course. And if you want to follow the show on the socials, figure out, if you forget what we're going to be watching next week, or you want to know what cocktail Evan's going to be bringing us, you can find that over on our Instagram page at Scream Stream Show, also on TikTok and X at Scream Stream Show. If you want to follow me and Evan on the socials, you can find me on X at Spakenstein, and Mr. Evan Sink is on X and Instagram at Caligari Cursed. Anything before we sign off tonight, Evan?
If you found out that there was a cult underneath a specific storefront, what do you think what's the best version of that?
And again, not to go too much, but there was a cult in the 70s in California that they ran like a like a health food store or some kind of
It's
shop.
in the basement of the
They're
health food
actually
store.
called, or maybe I'm just thinking of an episode of documentary now, Wild Wild Country, where they're that kind of cult. Who knows? We love our cults.
Yeah. I think somebody needs to check Chick-fil-A's basement.
Yeah, I might be kind of surprised.
They've got a vibe over there.
Yeah, something's going on. Don't like it. Well, until next week, sweet screams, everybody.
And to all, a good fright.